Hey guys, welcome back to the Galactic Gumdrop channel. It's Lizzie here, and I'm back with another anime review, and actually an anime movie review. Probably a movie you may have not heard of, because I had not heard of it until now. It's 11 years old, came out in 2008. It's a movie called Hells. Now, how did I come across this movie? Well, my brother has Amazon Prime, and he happened to stumble upon it on there. The art style really caught both of our eyes because it's different, it's kind of this edgy scratch line work and definitely not for everybody, but it was definitely something we wanted to check out. The tags on it is a adventure comedy horror, and I was like, oh, well, this seems freaking sweet. Done by Studio Madhouse, and already I was like, all right, I'm in. Let's watch this. So we sat down and watched it together, and I went in with really high expectations. Let's just say the movie fell quite short of those expectations. But starting out with our synopsis, it starts with the main character, Rine Amagane, who is typical high school girl late for class, cliche start to any anime. On her way to school, she runs into a cat that clearly is not a normal cat, about to get hit by a car, and she decides to risk her life to save this cat. Doesn't get hit by that car, but then Truck-kun decides to make an appearance, and what do we know? She wakes up in hell. Now, she doesn't seem to realize that she's no longer in the living world, and continues to run to her class, only to get to a class that is filled with these really cool looking demon chicks, and still doesn't seem to hit her at that point. But yeah, these characters all have really cool designs, and I thought they were pretty unique and liked that aspect of it. So as she's here trying to, I guess, win over her new classmates, she meets the headmaster, Helvis, who's probably my favorite character in all of this, because yes, he's Elvis and the devil put together. Helvis. Yeah, Helvis is basically telling her, hey girl, you in hell now, and you can't leave until you graduate. He doesn't exactly tell her what she needs to do to graduate, because why would that make any sense? But he just says you're stuck here, basically. Sorry, you can't go home. After this encounter, and after getting bullied by some of her classmates, she runs into this guy named Rio. And Rio takes her to a handful of other human students that also are trapped into hell. And they presumably are all not dead because they can bleed. But the rest of the demons are dead because they can't bleed? I don't know. They freak out when they see blood. So she's like, alright, we gotta defeat Helvis, we gotta get out of here. Great, okay. This point, I'm still on board. She goes back to her classmates. They're all trying to bully her, but one of the girls actually is starting to stick up for her, and that is Stila, the mute character. She has like 2 lines in the show, but I guess she's a main character. But she starts to stick up for Rine, and so's her skirt, and I don't know, they become friends. After all that, Helvis decides that he wants to have a volleyball tournament for I don't know reasons, and he says that he'll grant the winningest team's wishes. So of course Rine's like, well, I want to wish to go fucking home, so she tries to rally her demon classmates into winning this tournament, and somehow she does it, and they have this really cool actiony volleyball montage of demons and stuff that was shorter than I would have liked it, and honestly wished it was more of the main focus of the movie, but no. That's what you think you're getting into. That's not what you're getting into. Not at all. At this point, I'm still on board, okay? But of course, we've got majority of the movie left ahead of us. So the plot starts to get a little jankety here. And I don't want to go into too much spoilers for those of y'all who want to watch the movie after listening to what I've said at this point, so I'll go ahead and leave a time skip here, and you'll be joining us later at the end to hear my final verdict on this movie. But for those of you who don't mind the spoilers, oh, just strap in because you're about to get in this bumpy rocket roller coaster of a ride. Alrighty, so you remember we're at a volleyball tournament, right? Well, Rine and her team actually win the tournament, but Helvis does not grant Rine her wish. He grants everybody else's wish but hers. Of course, she gets upset about this and, I don't know, kind of goes off somewhere. She then runs into, oh, guess who? That cat from the beginning that's kind of been following her around creepily. We find out he's actually God. But guess what? God, I guess, can't do shit in this world because he hasn't done shit so far. And he still doesn't do shit after this. He tells her the true identities of Helvis and this guy Rio that she's also become friends with and thinks that he's a human are actually biblical characters Cain and Abel, which if you're not familiar with the Bible, Cain and Abel are supposed to be the sons of the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, and in the Bible, Cain murders Abel out of jealousy. So that's what's happened here, as Helvis is Cain and he has murdered Rio out of jealousy. They've trapped everybody in hell because they are in the middle of a feud and they just have to involve other people because it would be pretty uneventful without other bystanders around, I guess. So then she pulls out this magical sword from it looks like a giant brain, but we're not really sure. And supposedly that releases Abel's insanity. Not really sure where the hell this is all coming from, but we're just getting thrown all this. Then Rio, who was Abel, starts to go crazy, and, well, more shit's just about to hit the wall. This was probably to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm still following this. Here's our major plot twist. Biblical stuff's happening. After that, we get this nice flashback scene that explains why Cain is jealous of Abel, and it's kind of a weird incesty lusty thingy between mom and son. And of course, the other major plot twist is that Renee is supposed to be the reincarnation of Eve, or Cain and Abel's mom. So yeah, alrighty. Okay, I'm still on board at this point. Oh, and even Adam shows up. That's Eve's husband, but he's dead, I guess, so his soul's in hell, and I guess he's been there the whole time, but just decides to show up now. I don't know. Well, remember that girl Stila? She's not just a typical demon girl. No, apparently Rio created her, and she's not a real person. So he's able to use her to open up a black hole of nothingness and turn people into nothingness. So he decides to go with that plan of action, and people get sucked in there. And at some point, Adam tries to have a fight scene, but doesn't exactly. He just says, "Let's use the power of God, honey," and then does nothing. Followed by Helvis just suddenly becoming completely useless after seemingly being a total badass at the beginning of the show. So then people and Renee's mom get sucked into the black hole, and then Renee decides to throw herself in there. And of course, using the power of believing in yourself and love, I guess, she magically brings everybody back and turns Stila back to normal. At this point, I think the movie's about to come to a close, but guess what? You still have about another 40 minutes to strap in. So, what the heck is gonna happen from here? Oh, well, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. So after all this, you think they'd get to go home, but Rio says the only way you can get to go home is to throw your fucking soul in this Pita Piranha knockoff. Renee does it without any hesitation because she's the main character and can't possibly fuck up. But everybody else is not really sure, even though they were all just supposed to be believing in themselves 2 seconds ago. And oh yeah, this guy, Mario, I guess he's supposed to be a main character, and he has a mental breakdown and starts screaming, and Renee has to give him a pep talk until he finally is like, "I'm just gonna hold the plant down. Nobody says I can't do that, so everybody can throw their shit in there." So everybody throws their shit in there, but then Rio's like, "Guess what? This was all for nothing. This doesn't do anything." And you're like, what was the whole point of that scene? Then somehow we get this dramatic scene change, and we're in the middle of the desert, and things just start to get real weird. Like, the real world is now up in the sky and everybody can fly because the power of believing. But then if you don't believe, you fall down to the ground and then you're have doubts, and then Rio uses this doubts to stuff the other demon chicks and turn them into giant monsters. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, and then they're literally having a battle of words where they're shouting positive and negative things back and forth. And at this point, I am so lost and I just want this movie to end, but it keeps going. So yeah, Stila decides to do her whole sacrificial lamb thing and sacrifice herself to somehow get rid of the big monsters and become a giant scarecrow. Then she finally opens up a real gate back into the real world, and everybody's like, "Oh, thank God we can finally leave." Oh, and in this period of time, Rio has a mental breakdown and just suddenly becomes good again. Don't really know what his character development was supposed to be because we don't even know why he did this. But Renee is not ready to leave. No, she's too upset that Stila sacrificed herself and can't leave, so she is crying and trying to hold everybody back, even though everybody is ready to go. But what does she make them do instead? Rebuild the whole fucking city of hell, because for some reason Stila really liked that city that bullied her and treated her like shit. So they do that in about 2 seconds, and then she finally leaves. And you think everybody else gets to go with her after all this, right? Wrong. It's just her and her mom that leave. Not even Mario gets to leave. He just gets to tell her that he loves her as she flies up into the sky to the real world. We're finally coming now to the ending. Now, they tried to do the ending as one of those cool parallel endings where it's the same as the beginning, but the scene's a little bit different. Because so much has happened, right? There are some anime that can do this really well. One of those being Psychopaths. That's actually one of my favorites. And it did a fantastic job of having the similar opening and ending scenes that really hit home. But let me tell you, that didn't happen with this movie. Okay, at this point, you are just praying that this movie is gonna be over with. You don't even care how it's gonna end because you just want it to be done with because it's so dried, so drawn out, and just unnecessary. So Renee's, of course, late to school again. This time, instead of rescuing a cat, she rescues a girl. And before Truck Coon can hit her again, she gets saved by a boy. You would think this boy could be Mario. But think again, it's actually Rio's reincarnation because I guess fuck Mario, he didn't even get reincarnated. Rip. And a little girl turned out to be Stila, and a bunch of the demon girls got reincarnated, so I guess that's all fine and dandy, but fuck everybody else. Yeah, and then the ending credits roll. So welcome back, people from the timestamp. What you missed was essentially the plot derailing so fast that you can't even comprehend. Okay? After all the volleyball matches, the whole plot just kind of hits the fan and splatters everywhere, massacred. It's pretty bad, and it just turned a movie that I really wanted to like because look at this art style, look at this animation at the beginning and these scenes, looked really cool. But you can't swallow this shit with this kind of plot. So I went onto my anime list to rate this, and I was actually curious on what other people were thinking about this show, and oh my god, I laughed because people rated this show a 7.01. A 7.01. That means people think this movie was good. I rated this a 4, which means that it was bad because it was bad. And the only reason I rated it a 4 was because the animation and the art style wasn't half bad for most of the movie. The art style was pretty cool, and I liked the concept and the designs of the characters. They just really couldn't pull through on that plot, man, and it just brought that score down real low. So I went down to the first comment that I could find that had a top rating just to see what somebody said about it. They gave it a 7. I'm not going to point any names, but let me just say that one of the lines in this guy's review is, after about 45 minutes of this nearly 2-hour movie, I was all ready to call it my anime of the year. Okay, buddy, I was not at that point at 45 minutes in. I mean, it was decent, but it wasn't, that amazing. But then he does a quote here that pretty much sums up what I thought about everything else. Then I'm not quite sure what happened, but my guess is the lead writer was eaten by alligators and replaced by some hobo who had gotten through the first few pages of the Bible. That pretty much sums up what I thought. Would I recommend this movie? Probably not. But if it seems like something you'd still want to look into, by all means go ahead. It's on Amazon Prime. Anyway, thanks for watching this video and sticking around. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Also, if you have seen the movie and want to give your thoughts on it, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'll definitely take a look. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What'd you think of the plot? All that good stuff. Also, if you have any other anime or anime movies you would like me to review in the future, please leave those in the comments below as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram for updated stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.